Part two, the now. After a month of living with Sid, I had met a girl at a bar who invited me over to smoke DMT at her place. The moment felt casual, but what followed was anything but. Reality instantly dissolved into something far more vivid than ordinary consciousness. I found myself in a hyper saturated Mario cartoon world, witnessing a train with nine eyes rolling through the landscape. My hand turned deep purple, an eye blinking from its center. Strange alien entities appeared, mocking me with intelligence that felt all too real. It was somehow even more powerful than the first time I had tried DMT at Shambhala. The experience transcended anything I'd previously considered real. A few days later, I smoked cannabis that was supposed to calm my anxiety. Instead, it re triggered the DMT state. I could see machine elves busily working on my dog, Eddie. When that intensity faded, something shifted. I slipped into what spiritual traditions call the now. The now is that timeless present moment where past and future dissolve, leaving only pure awareness. There's no mental chatter, no story of self, just direct experience. Everything becomes intensely alive and interconnected. You're not observing the moment from outside of it. You become the moment itself. It's what mystics have described for millennia as enlightenment or awakening, a direct experience of consciousness without the story of self overlaying it. Tolle describes the now as the only point where life actually exists. Past and future are mental constructs that pull us away from reality. In The Power of Now, he explains that the present moment is where true power, peace, and awareness reside. He teaches that the now is accessible by shifting attention away from the constant stream of thoughts, the voice in your head, and into immediate sensory experience or pure awareness itself. He describes it as a state where you're fully present without the mental commentary that usually accompanies experience. You're not thinking about what's happening, you're simply being with what's happening. Tolle explains that the now is not another point on the timeline, but the timeless field in which all experience unfolds. Time itself is primarily a mental construct. Consider how a child's summer vacation feels endless, while adults often feel years racing by. Nothing in the external world has changed, but perception reshapes the experience. Neuroscientist David Eagleman has shown that the brain literally stretches or compresses time depending on novelty, attention, and emotional intensity. Meanwhile, Einstein's theory of relativity revealed that even objective time is elastic, running slower or faster depending on speed and gravity. More recently, quantum physics experiments, such as those led by Czeslaw Bruckner at the University of Vienna, suggest that at the smallest scales, the sequence of events itself may not be absolute, meaning time can behave differently depending on how it is observed. Together, these insights confirm Tolle's point. When you step into presence, you glimpse a reality deeper than the mind's timelines. Tolle also describes the now as the gateway to what he calls being, i.e., true being, the deeper dimension of yourself beyond thoughts, emotions, and identity. In this state, you experience yourself not as the story of who you think you are, but as the aware presence that observes all stories. It's in this space that suffering dissolves, because suffering requires the mental movement between past regrets and future anxieties that cannot exist in pure presence. This is where I was, and it was so profound that I was certain I had reached the enlightenment that Chris had told me about. But that was not the case, as many of my later moments in higher states were mostly sober, but ultimately didn't last long. Your nervous system simply can't handle it full time just yet, Gareth once told me. It's a brief glimpse from the LCS to show what is possible. Most go through it this way, in small stages and shorter experiences. Longer ones come later, until it eventually becomes your constant lived experience. My cannabis-triggered glimpse was like getting a preview of an apartment I could barely afford to live in yet. Substances can crack open the door and show you what exists beyond ordinary awareness, but they can't relocate you there permanently. That's because the now isn't something you stumble into. It's a state you must train for. Meditation is the gym of consciousness. Each session strengthens your ability to notice thoughts without being ruled by them, returning you again and again to presence. Substances may kick open the door, but only meditation gives you the strength to stay inside.